Hello, welcome to Juice Interviews, where every week I invite up and coming artists to my living room to speak about their music, creativity, and everything. This is our first episode so far, and I'm very excited to welcome Mood Inc. on this one. Before they join me on the sofa, I'm just going to give them a really nice introduction. So, Mood Inc. was conceived as a form of personal escapism from recent turbulent times, aiming to create a platform to showcase its sound as a fusion of chilled modern soul, R&B, and electronica. And with the songs, they offer a romanticism of places and people not yet been or met. The collective invite the listener along for the ride towards glowing sunsets, sandy beaches, and warm waters, a stark contrast to their hometown Essex. So, Mood Inc. Hi, guys. You good? You good? I'm doing very well. How are you guys? How was the trip from Brighton?
It was good. It's wet out there, but it was good. Yeah.
It was an easy journey. We managed to run for the bus and catch it just in time. So. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, so who are you and what are we drinking today?
So I'm Sam.
I'm Alex.
Perfect.
And this was requested by you, I think.
Yeah, I asked for some tropical juice. Just a bit out of the norm, I guess.
Oh, really good.
No
I
orange
think
juice.
it resonates with I don't know, with Mood Inc. Your sound and the whole aesthetic, very tropical there.
That's it, yeah.
So every time I listen to your music, guys, I imagine of driving to a beach, like going on a long night drive to a sunset, and it creates this soothing, chill, positive emotion to me. And yeah, you bring a sense of escapism from our dull lives and romanticism for the unknown, which is something I really like. What is the story of Mood Inc.? How did you guys meet and how did you start this project?
Well, first, I'm glad you say that about the music, because I think that is kind of the idea. I think I don't know, I personally struggle to kind of write music. It, like you say, it is an escapism, I think, for me. Like, I struggle to write autobiographically sometimes, I think. So kind of being able to create like a song where it's like, let's just write a song about being somewhere warm rather than, rainy Brighton or something.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we try and capture in the songs. I think more of like a feel or a vibe rather than telling stories, I suppose, as far as how we started.
Yeah, I mean, it came about through lockdown. I think like we've always kind of me and Sam have been friends since we were like 8 years old. 9 years old,
I'd say about 6 or 7. But
yeah, or maybe earlier. I don't know.
Glad you remember that.
But Sam's kind of always been involved in music, been in like kind of various bands as we were growing up, and when we were like 14, 15, we were like recording together and stuff like that. So, and then eventually, Sam was in Brighton, I was at BIM in London. Lockdown came about. Both just were toying about, the idea of releasing songs. We just started sending each other like demos that we were writing just out of boredom and, like you say, like escapism.
Yeah.
So we were then just like, oh, maybe we can do this like together as like a band kind of thing. Well, not so much a band, but just like however we can kind of come about and write some songs together. So we were just...
Yeah, it would give us like a bit of a good little hibernation period, like that weird kind of COVID lockdown bit. Because, I had to stop. I have a band and we had to stop playing live. So, like Alex said, we were kind of chucking ideas to and fro and just doing it for fun. It kind of took the pressure of having to make things to a certain standard or make sure everything was kind of glossy and perfect. And yeah, we've always messed about just making beats or whatever when we were teenagers.
Yeah.
But I think we've taken that pressure away, actually enable us to be able to finish something. And then we kind of just got the bug for that, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think it was always just making things for the sake of it and never really taking it very seriously and thinking, we're never going to put this out, really it was just messing around. Whereas when lockdown came, it was like, what are we waiting for kind of thing. We may as well just finish some of these songs and see what happens. And it's kind of been like a positive experience after positive experience since that happened. So kind of one thing to thank, that situation for.
I think lockdown worked as a really good opportunity for people to get creative and work on things that they didn't have the time to before.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
That was it for us, yeah.
So Mood Inc. was born out of the pandemic in a way.
Kind of, and just the years leading up to it. But yeah, it gave us the time to actually, make something worth showing people, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was your third member, Scott, who is not with us today? He's not died. He's not dead. Sorry, I just couldn't make it. It just
We
didn't
miss
sound
him
good.
so much.
But was he also involved in the process since the beginning, or did he join the band later?
Well, he wasn't. He's a bit of a. He's rubbish with technology.
Yeah,
so,
he's quite aloof.
Yeah, he kind of started hopping on it later on when we were all able to kind of get together, kind of in a bit more of a studio setting, and getting him to sing and play bass on some of the stuff that we had already.
Yeah, and then it's just kind of continued from there, and it's as much as he is like the third member, it's like I don't know if there is like a kind of constrained amount of members that is Mood Inc. Kind of speaking about like the whole collective thing, it's like we have other friends that kind of get involved, and maybe we'll send ideas to, and they might put an idea down, and we'll build around that as well.
The kind of thing of not being constrained to kind of like the traditional band format, because with all the tracks, it's kind of all got different. A few of our mates singing on it. There's not necessarily like a lead vocal or different instrumentalists on it. And we kind of just like the idea, of having it as like a bit more of a platform for like collaboration.
That's why you call it a collective, not a band.
Yeah.
All right.
And just kind of getting our mates involved to bring kind of some of our ideas to life a bit was the idea.
Cool. So when you started this collective, did you have the same vision or idea of how you wanted it to sound like?
I think we were all listening to quite similar stuff at the same time. I might come along and say, oh, you should check this band out or whatever, and then we kind of all would like fall in love with that kind of sound. So it kind of, we were like, oh, how can we kind of make something that's like that but more, in our own lane. A lot of these bands maybe aren't like UK bands. They might be like somewhere, sunnier like LA or Australia or New Zealand, those kinds of places that typically are like have that sound. And maybe we can kind of find a way of doing that here. Yeah,
I guess it's all just like an amalgamation of kind of the music that we've both listened to growing up, and I guess it's kind of most of that has been kind of more laid back, chilled out music, I'd say. Yeah.
Did you ever struggle to collaborate and share your ideas on this project?
With each other?
Yeah.
No, I think initially there was kind of like, because none of us are kind of technically vocalists or singers, like none of us have that background of like, none of us had singing lessons. It was kind of just like messing around, and I think it took for one of us, I think it was just like all of these ideas that we had, none of them had any vocals, and I think eventually I was just like, I'll just try. And then that everyone was kind of like, oh, it's quite good. And I think me doing that maybe allowed Sam to just be like, well, there's nothing to, if he can do it, then
I must be able to do it too.
Yeah, exactly. Basically.
Yeah, no, I think with the vocals thing, we definitely just pushed each other to get confident doing it and singing in front of each other and stuff like that. But I think actually it works really well. It's kind of good for me as kind of like an instrumentalist to be able to just chuck my ideas on something and he can kind of make it sound good and polish it up and stuff. So it works really well. Good. And because we've been friends for so long, I think we're not scared of if one of us kind of maybe does an idea that isn't that great, we can tell each other.
Yeah.
And we'll just bottle it up and resent each other for it forever.
Great. So what would you say inspires you to write your songs? What inspires your music? Because we said that they're a lot about escapism, going to a more warm place outside of Essex, Brighton, the UK.
I don't know, maybe that's always, again, from being don't want to bang on about it, but like from knowing each other for a long time and being from kind of the same hometown, I guess that was something we kind of would talk about a lot when we were kids, kind of, you know, going out and living somewhere else, or, you know, going to gigs and, you know, having adventures.
Yeah.
And then in terms of musically, I guess a lot of the music we listened to, especially at the time around kind of COVID, I guess that influenced it a lot as well, with the fact that we were kind of locked indoors. It was kind of like, again, rather than addressing that, because it's a bit miserable, just kind of like, let's just write some songs about
being somewhere
happier
else.
times.
The
Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. How would you describe your music in 3 words?
Chill.
Nice one.
Chill and cool.
And one more.
Moody.
Okay. Is that what you call the collective Mood Inc?
I think that was more like you know, it's quite an ambiguous name, and you can be in a good mood, you can be in a, you know, bad mood, you can be in a inspired mood, or whatever it may be. It's like, it kind of doesn't pigeonhole you to like one particular thing or sound. I think we went through like just some ideas for names that was like, oh, we can't really be called that because it's too summary, or it's too like one way. And it's like, you know, you might not necessarily always want to make one type of music. So
Yeah, and the whole thing of like being Inc, like INC incorporated, was kind of trying to make it more of like a ambiguous kind of, almost like a business name rather than a band name. Just to kind of buy into that whole idea of, again, it being like a collective and more about the records than the band, I suppose.
Did you have another name as an option before you went for Mood Inc?
Not that stuck, did we?
there was loads. I can't kind of particularly think of a single one. There was literally like a list of about 20 that...
Wow.
I read the entire dictionary front to back and like wrote a list of words. I thought that sounds quite cool, and yeah,
We settled on mood.
Best word
Yeah.
out of the
Inspired.
dictionary. Wow. How do you want people to listen to your music? Is there like a perfect place and time to listen to Mood Inc?
I think you said it at the start. I would like people to listen to it either on the beach, because that's where I like to listen to music, or like a late night drive kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I think it has that late night drive feel, and also, like you say, like kind of a beach or somewhere like nice and hot. But I also kind of like the idea of someone kind of sat on a bus in like rainy weather, and they can kind of just like close their eyes and not, you know, maybe be in that place for 3
Last
minutes.
bus home after a breakup.
Oh God. Yeah.
That's where you want to be.
All right. Good answer. Have you guys played live yet as a collective?
Not yet.
No,
Not
we've
yet,
done
no.
like live sessions, just like that we've filmed ourselves. Not all that have like kind of been released, but we're planning to do some more stuff to kind of promote the new singles, hopefully coming out over the year.
All right.
And like the kind of plan is to get to that point. I think it's quite hard because the way that it's, you know, there's only 3 kind of like mainstay members. We'd kind of like to have like a live band that we could then like work with. And like, you know, a lot of that could just be our friends that could get involved. So hopefully kind of towards the end of the year, that's something that we can look to do.
That's
Yeah,
exciting.
it's
Yeah, for
definitely
sure.
on the cards. I just think if we want to make sure that if we do it well.
Yeah.
I think.
I think there's always a worry when somebody has mostly been playing music in a studio and recording, and they finally get on stage and they play live. It usually sounds different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
How
course.
do you imagine your sound live?
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, I'd like to keep it as live as possible. I don't really like playing to kind of backing tracks and things like that. Hence, kind of needing more sets of hands really for the live setup. But yeah, I mean, in fact, we don't really use. We have like little kind of samples and things throughout some of the tracks that could just be triggered and things like that. So it's. But yeah, I'm kind of I've spent most of my life like playing drums in bands and stuff. So I was kind of like, I don't want to be at the back anymore. I want to be playing the guitar at the front. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we just need to kind of pull together from our kind of mates and stuff and get a band going.
And I think for us, it's always been like, you know, it started as a studio project. We weren't even in the same room initially, and it was kind of just about making and like writing songs that we enjoyed. And so kind of the live aspect of it has kind of always been like kind of pushed back, I guess, because we enjoy the kind of being in the studio, creating a vibe kind of thing with the song. So, but I think adding the live element to the Mood Inc. kind of experience, I guess.
Okay, but you have a new single out.
Yeah. Soon. Yeah, we do.
Well, yeah, it's out.
It's
Yeah,
out.
we do. It is out.
Okay, so tell me about it. How is it called and everything?
It's called Motion. And it's a bit of a departure, I think, from like the rest of the kind of singles and like the EP that came out last year. Mainly just because everything's been, like we said, like quite laid back and quite chill. And I think maybe thinking towards like live shows, potentially it's like you kind of want to be able to get people moving. Like at some point in the gig, you need to be able to kind of like raise and lower the levels like throughout. So you don't want it to kind of just like everyone to just be sailing through.
Yeah.
So I think like the new single has like it's got a bit of punch and bite to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit of a test to ourselves to see if we could write something that's like above like 80 BPM.
Yeah.
I think.
When I listened to it, it really reminded me of Glass Animals.
Okay.
Something
nice.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
cool.
definitely got like, it's quite electronic in terms of like the drums and stuff. I think we feel like with all the other singles, there's like that laid back kind of groove, whereas this is like, you know.
Yeah, a lot of the time, like it's trying to make like with this one, I think because a lot of the time we record like over, you know, live guitar, bass, or like live percussion and stuff, and we kind of try and kind of mess about with them, layer them with samples, or try and make them sound a bit broken and stuff. I think we've done that quite a bit on this one. Spent a lot of time trying to make the guitar not sound like a guitar. I don't know why, but it sounds cool. So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
If you guys were to do a cover of a very famous song and give it your Mood Inc. touch, what would you choose?
We've got one that's kind of in progress that we've been messing about with, which is
Make Love?
Make Love. It's like a 90s dance tune. We thought that's kind of like a good vibe for us to kind of slow down and chill out. I like the idea of that, just taking kind of like 90s kind of housey dance tunes.
Yeah.
I feel like that translates quite well.
Are you planning on releasing that soon?
Yeah, I think in the summer, hopefully, yeah, because it's quite like a summery one in between kind of the next set of releases, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one last question for you.
Cool.
What brings you peace? I asked this to all of my guests, and I just like hearing people's answers.
The sea that brings me peace.
That's a good one.
The Brighton Sea.
Always lived away and back home. We're on the Essex coastline, so I've always lived by the sea.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just looking out to the sea, being in the sea.
Yeah, the weightlessness of just kind of
It's,
floating.
The sea brings me peace, or a good book.
Yeah, I think I would second that, but also maybe just say I probably feel most at peace kind of when I'm in that flow state when it comes to making music or just kind of being creative, where you can like lose track of time because you're just so in it. You're not like thinking about anything. It's just kind of moving through it. And I think that's probably my most peaceful state.
It can quickly become the most stressful state. Yeah.
Nice feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, so your new single Motion is out now.
Yeah.
That's super exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing you live. I'm
Yeah.
curious
Thank
to see how your setup is gonna sound like.
Yeah, no, thanks.
I'm curious too.
It will happen. It will.
Yeah, for sure.
Amazing. Okay.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Best of luck with everything.
'Cause the lights go